Oh, wait a minute. I'm supposed to be here doing a shout out for you. A shout out and a thank you to you guys. Big shout out. All right, let's go. Let's put this guy up. It's amazing I can still play this thing after the last 2 months of hardly playing it. Wow. Very, very busy, folks, but we're going to do the shout out first, and then I'm going to give you some final thoughts on this particular fundraiser, my very first fundraiser for my very first nonprofit, Trumpet Champions, Inc. We are going to start off with the very first contributor, and we will end with the very last contribution of New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2020. It just so happens that the person that made the final contribution had already made a previous contribution, so that person will be named twice. But I want to do the first and the last, and the very last person late in the evening on December 31st, 2020. So here we go. So I'm going to give you, some of you have already got several thank you and shout outs from me from before, but this is the final one and the final tally. On November 27th, I think this might have been one day before Thanksgiving, 2020, Terry. Thank you, Terry. He was our first contributor. Lou. Thank you, Lou. Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Vic. Thank you, Vic. Hal. Thank you, Hal. Lee. Thank you, Lee. Francesco. Francesco, thank you, Francesco. And hit me up with an email if you actually got your stuff through customs in Italy. Okay. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but Cutler or Cutler? Cutler or Cutler? Thank you, Cutler. And if I think I did say thank you to Francesco. So, anyway, my mind's kind of racing here because I got a bunch of other things I'm going to be talking about. But anyway, thanks to Francesco, Cutler. Now Paul. Thank you, Paul. Stefan or Stephen. Thank you. And now we have the second Paul, Paul G. And Paul G is our #1 contender. Actually, he's not even the contender. He's like the champion. Paul has made multiple contributions. Thank you, Paul G. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Gerald. Thank you, Gerald. Dan. Thank you, Dan. Marcus. Thank you, Marcus. Randy. Thank you, Randy. Carrie. Thank you, Carrie. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, Carrie is a man, not a female. Let me scroll down here. Okay. These are just initials, but thank you, RL. Thank you. Rob. Thank you, Rob. Jean-Luc, who I will be having a lesson with in a couple days on Wednesday. Thank you, Jean-Luc, up in Montreal, right? Jean-Luc. Henning, thank you, Henning. Greg, thank you, Greg. Jack, thank you, Jack. Anthony, thank you, Anthony. Oliver, thank you, Oliver. And we got Roberto coming up here, TJ, Roger. Okay, so Roberto, thank you, Roberto. TJ, thank you. Roger, we got 2 Rogers coming up here. So they're 2 different Rogers. Roger. What's unusual is they're both of their last names start with R too. So it's not like I can say Roger and then their initial for the last name, because they both of their last names start with R. So anyway, you know who you are. Roger. Thank you, Roger. Dom. Thank you, Dom. And Roger again. This is a different Roger. Thank you. Rusty. Thank you, Rusty. Fred. Thank you, Fred. Bill. Thank you, Bill. David. Thank you, David. All right, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. Now we're getting near the end here. Angel. Thank you, Angel. Caleb. Thank you, Caleb. Rick. Thank you, Rick. Hugh. Thank you, Hugh. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but Dijen. D-J-I-N. Dijen. I hope I'm not messing up your name too badly. Dijen. Okay, now that's all the different individuals that have made contributions to the Trumpet Champions first fundraiser over at Indiegogo that just concluded a few days ago. But our final contribution of the night on December 31st, 2020, New Year's Eve, I don't remember the exact time that it came in, but this was the very last contribution made by Greg. And Greg, appreciated. Greg with 2 G's, I believe. I probably shouldn't have said that because I think we had another Greg in there. Anyway, I may be wrong about that. Did we have more than one Greg? Seemed like we did. Anyway, I don't have time to go back and look through everything to correct that. I'm not going to spend an hour editing the video either. Anyway, there was a Greg, and you know who you are. You made the last contribution on New Year's Eve that night. And that brought us up to the final tally, in case you guys haven't looked, $6,045. $6,045. Our original goal was $7,500. Now, I've already figured it out in email. If you should have got an email from me where I kind of delineated everything. But in a nutshell, the money that came after, the money that started flowing in on December 29th, which is the day that we can get everything doubled, up until the 31st, the end of the 31st, amounted to around $1,600. And when you double that, and you add it to the money that had happened before the 29th up to the 28th, it actually comes out very close to our original goal, $7,415. $7,415. Pretty good, huh? All right, we got very close to 7,500, really like spitting distance. So I think this is going to bode very, very well for things to come, and I'm already starting to work on things to come right now. So thank you all. Let me reach out and give you all a big group hug. Ah, there we go, big group, got a little kiss. No, I'm not going to give you a kiss because it appears that most, I think all of you that contributed were men. So no, I'm not going to pass out the kisses. Don't think you want them either. But no, you give it a nice big group hug. There we go, group hug. So I appreciate all your effort. And now I put up a very revealing video. I mean, I kind of just put my heart on a sleeve on New Year's Eve at the very end. Now I wasn't able to get it out until around 11:15. Not many people saw it. It was kind of a final plea for some more last contributions, and I didn't see that hardly anybody watched it. About 3 a.m. I just went ahead and took it down. The reason I took it down is because I put up some of my personal information, a credit card, a government card, some other information. Anyway, so now that was the thank you and the shout out to everybody. So now I'm going to give you my final thoughts of what happened and what happened to me. And you know, it's kind of funny, before I got into doing the fundraiser, I got several Kindle books on it, so I read through all that. I did some research. They even called up a couple of charities, United Way, and just people weren't really willing to talk too much, but I got a little feel of what's supposed to happen. The consensus was, if you're going to do a fundraiser, you have to have a team. You have to have several people doing it. You won't be able to do it by yourself. Well, I didn't have a team. I just started this nonprofit right before Halloween. There's no team. It's me, myself, and I. Now, after the dust has settled, I do understand why you need a team. It just becomes too time consuming. Also, for you guys, you're constantly getting hit up by one person, me, to make a contribution, and that can be a little bit, I guess, aggravating or irritating to constantly hear from one person. Where if I had several people working on it, you'd be interacting with different people, and so I could see how that could be better. Time-wise, for me, I've done nothing but just basically work on this fundraiser. Probably over 200 hours, actually well over that, since the beginning of November when I first started constructing it. And my practicing has suffered big time. I didn't do too much work on my other site, Trumpet Sizzle, and so a lot of negative things have happened to me from it, but I guess that's called sacrifice, right? All my income that I normally get a little bonus around this time because I do some discounts and more people will get involved, and that's kind of my little Christmas spending money for the end of the year. And then I will give that away, some of it, to some of the animal charities that I support. So that now I still gave some money away, although I didn't have the money to do it, but I dug in deep and I still did support some of my animal charities. So they didn't suffer, but I did. So just because all the money that I would have normally gotten was diverted into the Trumpet Champions fundraiser. So anyway, suffering for the better good. So I went without and did without, and now I've switched things back to Trumpet Sizzle. So if anybody gets stuff, speaking of getting stuff, I have something brand new. If you want to check out my YouTube channel, and then also go to my site, I have a new backing track that is very, very close, like 99% close, to Maynard Ferguson's 1957 live performance of My Funny Valentine. And for those of you who have never actually tried to do a Maynard or a Doc solo like that, without the help of Maynard or Doc, in other words, you don't get to play along with them, you are the soloist, you really might want to consider this as a learning tool. And I have it up on my Trumpet Sizzle site. You get the whole backing track, it's high quality, and it's an MP4 format, so you can have it out on either, put it up on your TV, or a big screen, or your a laptop or whatever, and you can actually play along with it. You'll see the music passing by, the written music, as the backing track is going. I highly recommend those of you who are interested in, or who've been interested in commercial, jazz, or lead playing, that you get this and you try your hand at what it feels like to be me, you know, and other people who get out in front of an audience and play these solos, and you're not playing along with Maynard, you know, you're not playing along with Doc or whoever that you like. It's a whole different world, a different ball game to get out there and play when you are the only one doing the solo. You're not playing along with somebody else. So I highly recommend that. You can just go to my website, trumpetsizzle.com, and type in the search My Funny Valentine, or just type in backing track. It should come up. It's my newest product there. And it's a song and a dance, 47 bucks. You get the easy version of what took me many months to put together. Think about this. I pulled it out of a hat, you know. There's no backing track. There's no arrangement. Oh yeah, well there's a big band arrangement, but still, I had to get this all formulated and orchestrated. There's no orchestration, and then get it all digitized. So that was several $100s and a lot of aggravation put it together years ago. And so anyway, I already bear the brunt impact of that and the cost. And all you got to do is just use your card, pay 47 bucks, and you got it instantly. What took me several months to put together. So I highly recommend that you do that. It would be a wonderful learning tool for just about everybody. You do need to have not a super high range, but you do need to have a high D, high E flat. If you don't have that, then don't get it, because you'll be spinning your wheels. So that's that. What else can I tell you? I've gotten in 8, 9, 10, whatever, 11, 12 responses for the Trumpet Wanted paid rehearsal deal that I've got going on different social media. Unfortunately, the people that have turned in and a response that were interested are what I would call like maybe amateur to kind of advanced players, And although Trumpet Champions is a charitable organization, I'm not going to be charitable with the members. I mean, you got to be firing on all cylinders. You can't just be an advanced player. You really need to be even better than your typical pro player to be in this band. This is going to be an award-winning band that will compete with the best in the world. So that's the problem that I have right now. Is I've had several people respond, but they're not at the level that I need for the band. So here's a request from you. If you happen to know any deserving musician, now we have trumpet, trombone, bari sax, tuba, and some kind of percussion. I haven't got it all in my mind of how I want it to go, but that's what we're looking for. I'd like to get the trumpet section down first. It's going to be more important to have a really good trumpet section, and if we have to dibble and dabble with some of the instruments, that's okay. But the trumpet section has to be top flight. And so if you know of anybody that could get to a rehearsal and be part of the band here in Central Texas, that is way better. Maybe it's someone that you admire, somebody you envy. This has to be a very good player. Could be a young player that just got out of college or a prodigy, but they got to be very, very good. Let me know about them, or you let them know about me. And I want to put the trumpet section together. So I'm looking at least for three trumpets right now. I'd like to start off and get that first before I start messing around with the other instruments. I don't think the other instruments are going to be too difficult, because basically the trumpet players are going to be the star, so they're going to be out doing the solos. I'm going to give other people a chance to be in the limelight too. Everybody else, the bari sax, the trombone, the tuba, the percussion, I'm going to let them have their opportunity to have some fun too in the sun. But the trumpets will be the star of this particular ensemble, so they really have to be good. So a jazz trumpet player, lead trumpet player, and pretty much a classical orchestral only type of trumpet player. That's what I'm looking for right now. And they got to be good, really, really good, like way above your typical pro player. So anyway, you can help me out on that, or share this video, or pass the word on. Remember, now we got the money to pay for people to travel to the rehearsals, and I'll be able to get a good rehearsal spot. So things are, I mean, there's some attraction there. A nice place to rehearse. People will be reimbursed for their gas and some travel expenses to make things a lot, just a lot better than it was when I tried to do this before, where people had to pay bridge tolls and BART fees. BART, I live in San Francisco, and gas and all kinds of problems, and they had to pay it all out of pocket. And so now this should be a lot better. So that's that. Also, I'm looking, I'm doing a lot of research and a lot of learning on grant writing. And so if any of you know about grants, or you've already applied for one, or maybe you work for an organization that handed out grants, maybe you worked for a foundation or the government, if you have any insider experience, let me know, because I'm green and fresh on this. Never applied for a grant before, so that's one thing that I want to get started too. I'm working on. So those are the two things I need your help with: grants, if you know anything about that, or trumpet section. People who can get to a rehearsal and be committed and be consistent in Central Texas. Let's see what else. Okay, going back to my impression of this fundraiser, everything kind of just flip-flopped. I thought that, okay, the reason I went Indiegogo, they got Kickstarter and Indiegogo. They make it sound like you just put your fundraiser up there, and everybody that sees it on Indiegogo will just throw money at it, and you'll get your goal like in a matter of days or weeks, unless it's something stupid. So that's the reason that you saw the fundraiser on Indiegogo. The way it turns out, nobody from Indiegogo made any kind of contribution at all. I mean, I could have just done this on my own website, which is not built yet, but that's another thing that we'll be using some of the funds for. Is we're going to spruce up a website for trumpetchampions.org, and we'll get that going. And we'll have a donate button, all that kind of stuff. But having the fundraiser on Indiegogo, I don't think maybe you can give me your opinion, but there was actually nobody that just came out of the woodwork from Indiegogo. They threw money at our fundraiser. Nobody, zilch. Everybody that contributed were people that I came in contact with through past involvement with students or music or anything. It was people that I basically somehow knew or knew through somebody else. So I found that a little bit disappointing, that you get on a site like Indiegogo and supposedly there's all these people that want to back good projects and not $1 from one person at all on Indiegogo. So you probably won't see me do another fundraiser on something like Indiegogo. Like, I could have just done everything on my own site, and we have to pay a 5% fee to Indiegogo, and they also hold back some money, so there's kind of some negatives there. So that's one surprise. I mean, the second thing is, if you'd asked me back right before Thanksgiving, how long do you think this is going to go? Based on what I thought about Indiegogo and the stuff that I'd seen, I thought maybe a week. We'd have the $7,500 in a week. I'd never dreamed or thought or had in my back of my mind that this thing would go all the way to the wire till December 31st. No. I thought I'd put up my courses, chop them in half, make them just an attraction where nobody could just go by and not get those, and we'd have the Indiegogo backers and everything would pour on, and in a week we'd have our $7,500 and that's it. Then I get back to business as usual with my other stuff. No, it didn't work, as you know, it didn't work out that way. So that's that's another thing that just surprised me. The third thing that surprised me is I have a lot of students that are very wealthy, a lot of former students that are very wealthy. When I say wealthy, I don't mean 100,000. I mean, these people I know for a fact are in the millions, the million range. Some of them are doctors. No, not 40-year-old doctors. Some of them are 70-year-old doctors that are half retired. These people got big time bucks. Serious money, and then there's other people that are entrepreneurs, business owners, that are former students, and these guys I just thought would easily, I mean, it'd be like me taking out $1 and giving it to a homeless person for them to give me 500 or 1,000 for this. And I thought that's another reason this would all be over with in a couple of days, because I have basically the people that have taken my course, the big course, you got to plunk out 1,000, and so these people had the funds, and years ago, and now, of course, with the stock market at 30,000 compared to 10,000, let's say back in 2010 or 2011, these people are even more rich. So this is the third thing that really surprised me, is that most of those people, I'm not lying to you folks, they did not contribute $1. Zilch. These are people that are so rich, and it's why am I disappointed? Number one, because these are grown men. I'm not talking about any women here. These are grown men that all their lives they played their horn, and they couldn't figure out how to do their horn. They came to me, I helped them out, and they got better. And what thanks do I get from them years later? Zero. I never would have thought that. These people couldn't play their horn. We got 50 and 60 and 70-year-old men, grown men, that have spent their whole life trying to figure out the horn and couldn't play it. I guess they know how to work 12 hours a day and save their money, but they could not figure out how to play this instrument. Okay? I showed them how to do it. Not that they got, anywhere close to my level, but I did show them how to get better. And then years later, I'm asking for help, like for this fundraiser, and some of them couldn't even be bothered to give me a response. Most of them, all of them, seemed to have an attitude. I would say an attitude is a good way to say it, like I was bothering them. And finally, a student of mine, who I know is a multi-millionaire, who actually was very nice about 10 years ago. He was pretty nice and friendly when he took the course. In fact, he even let me use one of his horns. He has 10 horns. Lives in the Napa Valley area of San Francisco. Very rich and wealthy individual, probably even richer now. The guy sent me a letter saying that he and his wife had donor fatigue and he wasn't going to be contributing anything to the campaign. So these are all surprises for me, and I'm giving you my final thoughts of the ridiculousness of what happened to me in this fundraiser. This guy's a multi-millionaire, owns apartments and rental dwellings in the California rich area. Last count from 10 years ago, he had over 10 horns. I believe he actually bought Bill Chase's restored horn for around $8,000. He was very nice, friendly, and generous at that time. Like I said, he even let me use one of his horns. And I helped the guy out a lot. I mean, he could barely play out of a paper bag. I would say he's not that much better now. I mean, he's not a pro, but he did get a little bit better. Never joined a group, and can't believe it. Donor fatigue? I don't believe it. I think he's just like a lot of these other guys. They have millions. They're just tight, and I don't know what they're waiting for. But anyway, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, especially when I have some of you guys that are on fixed incomes, that like retired, that kind of thing, and you guys gave $100 or you guys gave $50, and I know that you're on a fixed income, and it warmed my heart to see you guys be so generous. And these guys that have millions, literally, I know their house. You know, it's easy to find when people have assets. You can count up their houses and figure out when they bought it and how much. These people I know have lots of money, and they couldn't even contribute $1. So that really rubbed me the wrong way. Anyway, these are all surprises for me, and unfortunately they were negative surprises. I had no idea. I thought these rich guys that I helped out, remember, I helped them out. I thought that, hey, it helped them out. These were grown men all their lives. They couldn't figure out how to play their horn. I helped them out. I thought there'd be some small percentage of gratitude with these people, and it turns out zero. So I'm disappointed in them. Now, you don't have to really worry about them watching this, because most of those people I've removed from the roster. I don't even want to send them any emails anymore. That's how disgusted I am and disappointed I am with these people. What's the point of having them on the email roster if they're not even willing to help out a nonprofit organization like this, right? So they're not going to be seeing this, my guess is, and they're not getting the emails that have been sent out lately. They're completely removed off the roster. That's how disappointed I am. So unfortunately, the surprises I had to tell you about just right now, unfortunately, they were negative. The one positive surprise, I guess, is that at the end I was thinking that we weren't going to meet our goal. And so the positive surprise is, with the matching and the doubling that happened the last couple of days, we are pretty much at the goal. So that is a positive. I don't want to make it all dark. But go rewind this and listen again, and you'll see that that's just reality. I wish I could paint everything with pink rainbows and say that everything came out exactly like I thought. It did not. With the people involved, people that I had helped out. You know, when you help somebody out and they really need something from you, you would think that they wouldn't forget that, and down the road they would want to show some gratitude. But I just figured out a little bit about human nature. That's what I figured out and found is that's not always the case, folks. So anyway, learned from my experience here. Anyway, so but the pink rainbows and the flowers and everything is that we did actually get to achieve the goal, and we're 98.6% or something like that, like our temperature. So that's pretty much it. My final thoughts, and just to recap, is if I got to do this next year, I'm going to have people from the band helping me out. I'm not doing this all by myself again. Okay, the video cut off on me, so I'm coming back in here. This Canon M50 that I have will go for about 30 minutes, and then it kind of shuts down. So we'll see. But anyway, you'll see me. I came back in. I don't know what I left out, but anyway, that's the way it works. So anyway, where was I? I was just saying that if we need to do a fundraiser again at the end of 2021, I will definitely have to have some of the band members be helping me out with the fundraiser. That's number one. Number two, this year I really didn't get to enjoy Thanksgiving. I didn't really get to go out. I didn't do any shopping or do anything fun for Black Friday or that weekend. Christmas Eve, not much. You saw I made a video. Christmas, not much. New Year's Eve, not much. So typically I like to get out and do something. if I'm not out doing some kind of playing, right? And with COVID, there wasn't much of that, but still, I like to get out and, you know, go check out a movie or go do something. So because of this fundraiser, I didn't really have any type of personal time or holiday. So this year, at the end of 2021, if we have another fundraiser, I'm going to make some of the band members help out. Okay, so you heard what my final impressions. I was surprised, kind of in a negative way. You heard that, and you heard the positive. I was also surprised near the end when I thought we weren't going to get close to the goal. But at the very end, I was very surprised and delighted that a lot of you made multiple contributions. We did finally get the goal. It was a rough ride. We got there, and now I'm going to go to bat for each and every one of you to try to put this group together, get things going, and let's see what else. I think that's pretty much it. Let me see if we can end on a high note. I'm not even on my commercial mouthpiece. This is a bigger mouthpiece here. Bam! Ended it on a high note. Happy New Year 2021. Trumpet Champions Inc. And I'll be in touch.